Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Box Office Talk. This is the show where I break down what happened at the box office, see if my predictions for the top 5 are correct, and make predictions for next week's top 5. So let's get right on into it. Last week I predicted that number 1 would be Rogue One, number 2 would be La La Land, number 3 would be Collateral Beauty, number 4 would be Moana, and number 5 would be Office Christmas Party. And unfortunately, I only got 1 out of 5 of my predictions right. But this is mainly because one of the movies I predicted to make it on this list actually wasn't being released nationwide yet. It was a huge trick that was played on me, but we'll get more on that later. Obviously, number 1 was Rogue One, a Star Wars story. This weekend it made $155 million, and it's on a budget of $200 million, so it only needs $45 million more dollars to get its budget back. But on the worldwide chart, it's already passed it. It is at already $290 million worldwide, which is spectacular for this movie. I'm so happy that this movie's still doing well, which is obvious. A Star Wars movie is going to do well, especially after The Force Awakens' performance last year at the box office, and I'm already sure that there are some people unnecessarily freaking out that this made $100 million less than The Force Awakens. I'm sure there are people out there going, oh my god, this is a total failure. Guys, if you're freaking out, it's not a failure. This was kind of expected that it wasn't going to make as much as The Force Awakens. However, this is still a lot of money. I'm so shocked that people can look at over $100 million and go like, oh my god, it's a huge flop. It's like, no, it's doing fantastically. Please don't be nervous about this movie. It is doing very well, especially since it's not based on any pre-existing Star Wars characters. Anyways, number 2 is Moana. This weekend it made $11 million, and that adds to a domestic total of $161 million, and it is at $280 million worldwide, so it only needs $20 million more to double its $150 million budget. At least I think it's at $150 million. I've been going off that it did have a budget of $150 million for a couple weeks now, but apparently the budget has been undisclosed, which I didn't even know about. So I don't even know what this movie's budget is, but from actual performance at the box office, it is doing very well. Now, I just have a very interesting thing to think about now. If this movie's gonna be able to get past 200 million domestically, it already did worldwide, but will it domestically? It'll probably get past 300 million worldwide, but I'm not sure if it'll be able to get to 200 domestically, since it is down to making $11 million. But then again, anything's possible. I think maybe a couple more weeks. I don't think, actually, there is quite a lot of competition. Maybe it won't. Maybe it'll get to 190, but this movie is still doing very well regardless. Anyways, at number 3, we have Office Christmas Party. This weekend it made $8 million, and that adds to a domestic total of $31 million, and it only needs $14 million more to get its budget back, which I guess good for that part, but then there's the doubling part, which is actually what's considered to have a box office hit, is when you double your budget. And I don't think it's going to be able to get there. I actually haven't checked the worldwide chart. Maybe I should. But then again, why? I don't think it's released in a lot of other places, but maybe it has. Guys, I'm just lazy. I don't want to check the worldwide for this movie. I'm going to move on to number 4, which is much more interesting to talk about, Collateral Beauty. It only made $7 million this weekend, and this is on a budget of $36 million. Poor Will Smith, man. I don't think he can't catch a break these days. You have Suicide Squad earlier this year, which financially did well, but critically not so well. And now you have Collateral Beauty, which is not only getting panned by critics, but now it's bombing at the box office. I'm so sorry, Will. Maybe the next Suicide Squad movie will do good for you, if you're even doing that. Maybe they're making a Deadshot movie. I don't know. Maybe just get something good for Will Smith. He needs something good, man. Anyways, number 5 is Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them. This weekend it made $5 million, and that adds to a domestic total of $207 million. And at the worldwide chart, it is at $717 million. That's a pretty good place to be at right now. This movie is doing fantastically, and I'm so proud of that. Even though Rogue One has come out, it is still had the opportunity to make a lot of money. That would kind of suck if Star Wars came out when a blockbuster came out a week before. Think about that. If Fantastic Beasts came out last week, it would get buried by Star Wars, probably, because that's how huge Rogue One is. But then again, Fantastic Beasts still would have made a lot of money regardless, so I don't even know what I'm talking about anymore. Number 6 is a movie that was here last week, and I guess moved up a spot. I don't remember, but it was around this area. Manchester by the Sea. This weekend it made $4,156,000, and that adds to a domestic total of $14 million. And if you look at its budget, it is $8.5 million, so it needs to get to $17 million to double it, and it's $3 million away from that. And I think it'll be able to get there because, you know, critical praise, and also it's doing very well financially right now, since it is more of an indie film, and people did go out their way to see this movie. So that's pretty good for that movie. I haven't seen it yet, so I can't really comment much about it, but I hear it's great. Number 7 is a movie I really want to talk about, La La Land. This weekend it made $4,020,000, and that adds to a domestic total of $5 million, and it's on a budget of $30 million, and they haven't gotten that budget back yet. Gee, I don't know what could have helped you here. Maybe, how about releasing it nationwide on December 16th like you made me believe it was, instead of releasing it on a limited release December 9th, only to release it in 200 more theaters this weekend, only to go on your website and go, oh yeah, it's actually going to be released nationwide on Christmas Day, and even then, it's not going to be everywhere until like January. Are you freaking kidding me, Lionsgate? The point is, I would really like to talk about how I feel about La La Land, because my plan was to see Rogue One and then see this movie at some point on this weekend, but I can't, because the people over at Lionsgate, I guess, decided it would be smarter to just release it in 200 more theaters than they did last week, and then release it nationwide on Christmas Day. It's not even like December 23rd, which is the Friday of that weekend, just Christmas Day, the Sunday. I don't get you, Lionsgate. I'm sure the movie's great, though. Number 8 is Arrival. This weekend it made $2,775,000, and that adds to a total of $86 million. And if you look at the worldwide chart, it is at $135 million. That is still very good for this movie, and it is an Oscar contender. And hey, La La Land, take some notes, because at least this Oscar contender released nationwide on one specific day so that a lot of people could go out to see it before the end of the year. I don't know why, but I'm still complaining about La La Land's release dates when I moved on to Arrival. Moving on, number 9 was Doctor Strange. This weekend it made $2,036,000, and that adds to a total of $226 million domestically, and on the worldwide chart it is at $652 million. That is still very good, and I guess this movie's going to be gone by next week. That's what I'm thinking about, but hey, at least another Disney movie, Rogue One, moved in, and Rogue One and Moana, the other Disney movie, will be here when Doctor Strange is gone. I think it's been a tradition that when one Disney movie leaves the top 10 of the box office, there's usually always another Disney movie there. But hey, I'm not complaining about that. That's still a pretty good thing. Number 10, closing it out, was Nocturnal Animals. This weekend it made $1 million, and that adds to a total of $8 million domestically. And at the worldwide charts, it's at $20 million. Now, its budget is $22.5, and it is $2.5 million away from getting that, but if you would double it, technically you could say this movie's bombing. But I don't think that's a very fair thing to say, since this is more of an indie-type movie. So I don't think it's bombing too horrifically, at least not as bad as some other movies that have been released this year. But still, I wouldn't necessarily call this a financial success. But now it's time for the fun part, the predictions for next week's top 5, and I would have included La La Land in this, but since it's only being released on the Sunday of next week, I'm not going to be predicting it to appear in any of the top 5 slots. I'm going to say number 1 will be Rogue One once again. I'm going to say number 2 will be Assassin's Creed, because popular video game franchise. Then I'm going to say number 3 is Sing, because it's an Illumination movie. And then I'm going to say number 4 is Passengers. I think maybe that'll get there. And I think number 5, closing it out, will be Why Him. But what are your predictions for next week's top 5? Leave them in the comments below. And if you got your predictions right for this week, you're going to get a shout out right now. Unless you didn't get it right then, I'm sorry. And as always, thank you guys for watching. Make sure to subscribe. I'm Jackson Fulcher. And go out and see Rogue One several more times so that it can still be number 1 for at least 2 more weeks. Thank you guys for watching. See you guys next time.